So I'm going to call the meeting to order. I want to welcome everyone who is joining us today. And on behalf of my colleagues, Commissioner Holden,
Site and has been emailed to the Department of State and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
thank you. And roll call, please.
Commissioner Holden,
Here.
Commissioner Solomon,
Here.
Commissioner Shivakula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Here.
President Fialisa.
Here. And our, excuse me, our next regularly scheduled meeting,
Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, February 17, 2021 at 10 a.m. via teleconference with details to follow.
thank you, Ada. We will have an executive session today. The board will be addressing an item in executive session under Clean Energy 8A. And the board will be taking action and it's relative to the basic generation service. And we will, as I say, be taking action during the regular session. Executive session will last approximately 15 minutes. Will the Attorney General's office please explain the justification for going into executive session?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good.
Energy item 2A falls within the exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act regarding confidential information. These exceptions are found at New Jersey Statute 10:4-12B.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, I think the ayes have it, as they say in Congress. So we will be in executive session. We'll see you hopefully in about 15 minutes. Thank you.
Okay.
You got Mariana.
No video for me.
Okay, we're all back, it seems. Very good. Well, that was the quickest 15 minutes I'm sure anyone has experienced in a long time. We didn't have much to say. So here we are, and we'll continue on with our meeting. I do have some opening remarks to make. We have some new staff members that have joined the BPU. Our first one is Tunde Odu Kun in the legal division. And we're happy to welcome Tunde, who comes to us with very good credentials. So one of the areas that we have to bolster is our legal division. We then have Jason Forsyth, a rate analyst, a utilities trainee in energy. And that's going to be a big help to Stacy and her team. And we also have also a trainee in energy, William Barksey. And so we continue to move the process along as far as hiring is concerned. And as you all know, it's a never-ending process, and so on. And someday we may get up to the point where we say, okay, we're all set. But I don't think that's in the cards necessarily. I just wanted to mention that tomorrow there is going to be a ribbon cutting down in Perth Amboy, and I will be there with the governor to commemorate the first community solar project. And so it's something that really is wonderful, and Ariane Benray deserves an awful lot of credit for all of her hard work toward this goal. And she continues to work diligently to ensure the fact that community solar does what community solar is supposed to do, ensuring that low and moderate income underserved communities have an opportunity to participate in the clean revolution. So I will report back on that. As I mentioned during the last board meeting on Friday, the 29th of the last board meeting, on Friday, the 29th, this Friday, we will have the first in a new series of quarterly public comment meetings designed to provide members of the public and interested parties an opportunity to speak directly to all of the commissioners on matters of public interest within the board's jurisdiction. The topic of the first meeting will be the state electric utilities response to our tropical storm back in August and the board's resulting comprehensive report. As you understand, of course, a report is done after every major weather event. And as you will recall, this event caused 1.4 million people to lose power. These quarterly public meetings will further increase the board's transparency and accessibility and give the public a forum where they can express concerns directly to the commissioners, which is especially important during this time of remote work. While the window to register to speak at this meeting has closed, interested individuals can gain listening access to this meeting by visiting the BPU website. As most of you know, the board expanded the scope of docket number A0200604771. The board's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Staff is scheduling a meeting for February 8th, and subsequent stakeholder and public meetings will be scheduled for later in February. The procedural order is forthcoming shortly. We are also looking at ways to make arrearage information more readily available, including posting it on the board's website. And we are committed to improving, again, the transparency wherever we can. So two big things: the first quarterly meeting for open comment on Friday, and then our response to the arrearage inquiries that we've been getting. Because we are getting to the point where the moratoriums ending aren't that far away. So we have to get a grasp on exactly where we are and exactly what kind of condition the utilities are in and how many people are actually in such dire straits at the moment. On another topic, the BGS commercial and industrial auction is scheduled to commence Friday, February 5, and the BGS residential and small commercial auction is scheduled to commence on Monday, February 8. And during that week, we will be having a special meeting to ratify the results of that. As we work through this extraordinary period in time, staff is working hard to ensure matters progress seamlessly. And while not physically in the office, staff continues to process the multitude of filings made with the agency. With that in mind, I would like to take this opportunity to advise members of the public and the utility community of the board's rules of practice set forth in NJAC 14:1. The rules provide that all filings submitted to the board must be addressed to the board secretary, Ada Camacho Welch, and can be emailed to board.secretary@bpu.nj.gov. board.secretary@bpu.nj.gov. Filings can also be sent via ordinary mail. However, this is big however, under the current circumstances, email directly to the secretary safeguards the timely handling of matters. With employees working remotely, to keep these filings timely, I strongly suggest that you email the filings. In addition to email, petitions and other filings may be submitted through the board's newly launched e-filing system, known as the board's external access portal, upon obtaining a My New Jersey portal ID. Once you establish a My New Jersey account, an authorization code can be requested by emailing the NJBPU's IT Help Desk, Information Technology Help Desk, at BPU IT Help Desk at bpu.nj.gov. Let me say that again. BPU ID Help Desk at bpu.nj.gov. Under the current statutes, there are filing fees attendant to the submission of a petition. These fees have been temporarily suspended during the pandemic to enable us to continue to process matters under these modified conditions. Additional guidance can be found on the board's homepage under the e-filing tab and on the board's COVID-19 page, which includes a link to the waiver order issued by the board in March of 2020. Do any other commissioners have any comments to make?
I just have a quick question, Mr. President. People who are for the public session, if people who have not able to sign in, will the chat facility, are we going to make use of the chat facility or?
Well, we'll
No.
see. Yeah, we'll see how much time we have left, Upendra. And certainly, but everyone was advised in the notice and so on that they had to sign in to speak last Friday. That was the end day.
Okay.
But we'll see how it proceeds. If it's, if we have time, we can certainly utilize that. I don't see a problem.
Also, I want to congratulate Commissioner Holden for being selected as at-large executive committee member of NERUC. I just want to wish her all the best.
Yeah, you stole that out of me. That was my last.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I was going to say that at the end.
Yeah.
But one of our own is on the executive board, and as Commissioner Shivakula indicated, and I know that, and we all know that New Jersey will be represented well.
Thank you.
I'm glad we are virtual. Otherwise, you would have said I pickpocketed your idea.
Oh, pickpocket. No. Anyone else have any comments? I lost my video. Can
We
anybody
see you.
You can see me? I can't see
Yeah,
you.
we
guys.
see you, President.
We see you.
All right, hold on. I screwed something up here. I'm sorry. Oh, here we are. Okay. Here I am. Okay, I can see you guys now. All right, if no one else has any comments or anything of that sort, we will now proceed with the regular agenda. There are no items under audit. And that brings us to energy. And Stacy, I see that you're going to present under energy items 2A to 2D. So if you would like to jump on that now, we're here to listen to you.
Mr. President, may I interrupt you for a quick second?
I know the consent agenda, I forgot.
Thank
I'm
you.
so anxious to get into the regular
I know.
session, you know? I'm sorry, Ada.
Thank you, Mr.
Let's do the consent agenda, Ada. Why didn't you remind me?
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. On the following consent agenda items, 1A, 1B, 5A, 7A, 7B, 7C, and the minutes for the November 18, 2020 agenda meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Shivakula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fialisa.
Yes, and thank you for reminding me, Ada.
No problem.
That's why you're around, because I have a good memory. It's just short. All right, Stacy, now it's yours. Let's start with 8A.
Let's start with 2A. I'll start with 2A.
Well, let's start with 2A then.
Okay.
Whatever A you want to start with, it's fine with me.
Okay. By order dated November 18th, 2020, the board approved a proposal made by Rockland Electric to conduct a procurement process where Rockland would enter into bilateral contracts or agreements to hedge the cost of energy purchased from the New York Independent System Operator to satisfy the BGS energy needs for residential and small commercial customers in the company's central and western divisions. On January 26th, Rockland conducted its procurement process to acquire the energy transactions for these customers for the period June 1, 2021 through May 31st, 2024. An independent analysis conducted by Bates White indicated that the RFP proceeded without meaningful interruption according to the board-approved rules for this RFP and in an acceptably fair and transparent manner. Bates White recommends and staff concurs that the board certify these RFP results. Further, staff recommends that the board direct Rockland to execute the necessary documents with the winning bidder, blend the winning price, and implement the BGS rates resulting from the auctions to be conducted next month, as well as file final tariff sheets reflecting the blended rates with the results from the auction for Rockland by March 1st, 2021.
Do I have a second?
Second, yeah.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments for Stacy on that item? Seeing none, roll call, Ada.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
yes,
President Fiordaliso.
Yes, thank you. 2B has to do with transmission rates, Stacy?
Yes, on December 16th, the state's 4 electric distribution companies filed a joint petition requesting recovery of FERC-approved changes in firm transmission service-related charges. The EDCs requested the changes be made for services rendered on or after January 1st and have represented that suppliers will be compensated subject to the terms and conditions of the applicable supplier master agreement. Based on the allocation of these costs for the EDCs and their respective allocation among each class, the monthly bill for a residential customer will change by approximately the following amounts: an increase of 32 cents for ACE, an increase of $1.20 for JCPL, a decrease of $1.06 for PSE&G, and an increase of $1.18 for Rockland. In the board's order in the 2021 BGS proceeding, the board approved transferring responsibility of transmission from the suppliers to the EDCs going forward. Additionally, the board addressed issues related to previously collected but not yet paid transmission costs. Based on those decisions, staff recommends the board approve the modifications to the BGS rates consistent with the petition effective February 1st. Staff further recommends board approval of the EDC's request to pay the suppliers at this time, subject to the terms and conditions of the SMAs. Staff further recommends the EDCs be directed to file revised tariffs by February 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
yes,
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. 2C is a public service item.
Correct. On June 29th, Public Service filed a petition seeking approval to modify the electric and gas components of its green program's recovery charges, as well as establish a new component to recover the company's share of costs associated with the voltage optimization study and demographic study. As filed, the resulting net combined annual revenue impact is an increase of $16.6 million on electric and $8.1 million on gas. On December 2nd, the company provided a discovery response updating the petition to include actual results through September. The parties have executed a stipulation for provisional rates subject to refund. As a result of the provisional stipulation, a typical residential electric customer will see an annual increase of $3.04, and a typical residential gas customer will see an annual increase of $3.10. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the provisional stipulation and directing PS to file revised tariffs by February 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
yes,
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. And 2D, South Jersey Gas, Stacy?
On June 19th, South Jersey Gas filed a petition seeking to increase the company's energy efficiency tracker rate. In the petition, South Jersey sought to reconcile costs and recoveries for its energy efficiency programs for the period October 2019 through September 2020, and to recover forecasted revenues for the period October 2020 through September 21. The proposed rate was designed to recover a revenue requirement of $13.9 million. Through discovery, South Jersey updated the revenue requirement to include actual information through September, which reflected a revenue requirement that would be higher than publicly noticed. Following a review, the parties have executed a stipulation that would allow South Jersey to implement a revised EET rate based on the filed petition. As a result, a typical residential heating customer will experience an increase of $1.10 in their monthly bills. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and directing South Jersey to file revised tariffs by February 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call, Ada?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Thank you, Stacy.
Thank
And I
you.
think 8E, Joe DeLosa, you're going to present a FERC matter. And before you do, Joe, I just want to mention that OPSI, the Organization of PJM States, of which New Jersey obviously is a member, will be meeting in February with the FERC commissioners, a virtual meeting, and to get to know the two new FERC commissioners who are appointed, and try to establish a relationship that will hopefully be advantageous to all of the PJM states. And of course, our concern is the fact that we want it to be advantageous for New Jersey. So there will be that meeting, and we are looking forward to it. I also want to make mention of the fact that
Unknown caller.
excuse me, that we had an intern in that division, FERC and PJM Regional, by the name of Ryan, and she has now become the aide to Commissioner Holden. And Ryan has agreed to work alongside, when needed, Joe and Emily and Hannah on FERC items as we go down the road. So I know that those guys are happy, because I think it was a wonderful relationship they all had when Ryan was there. So it's very exciting, and I want to thank Ryan personally for taking on this added responsibility, and thank Commissioner Holden for allowing her to do that. Okay, Joe.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Mr. President and Commissioners.
Good morning,
As
Joe.
part of the board's first of its kind, November 18th, 2020 order, which initiated the state agreement approach, or SAA, process seeking options for offshore wind transmission, the board authorized the execution of a transmission study agreement between the board and PJM. PJM filed the executed agreement with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, on December 18th, 2020. The agreement is the first step in the SAA process, authorizing PJM to conduct the necessary studies, include those studies in the Regional Transmission Expansion Plan, and open a competitive window in response to the board's November order. As set out in that November order, the agreement does not bind the board or PJM to the selection or construction of any particular project. On January 8th, 2021, staff, on behalf of the board, filed brief comments expressing support for the executed agreement and urging FERC to accept it. Staff recommends that the board ratify the January 8th, 2021 comments at this time.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Joe? Roll call, Ada.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes, thank you, Joe. Cable television has no items for consideration. Telecommunications, Nell, from Division of Law. There you are. You're muted. Unmute you. Thank you. There you go.
Excellent. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Okay. This matter is before the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities by way of motion dated December 30th, 2020, filed by the petitioner, Business Automation Technologies, doing business as Data Network Solutions, DNS, seeking interlocutory review of Administrative Law Judge Tricia M. Calguire ruling of December 22nd, 2020. By way of background, on September 26, 2017, DNS filed a petition with the board disputing bills rendered by Verizon for charges incurred pursuant to multiple billing disputes arising out of several agreements between the parties. This matter was then transmitted to the Office of Administrative Law for adjudication on January 29, 2018. Thereafter, the case was assigned to ALJ Calguire and set for hearing on December 22, 2020. On December 30th, 2020, DNS filed a motion for interlocutory review of various rulings made by the ALJ during the course of proceedings held on this matter. The petitioner contends that ALJ Calguire erred in denying admission of testimony and evidentiary material, striking material, and limiting cross-examination. The petitioner argues the ALJ did not provide for cross-examination of Verizon's witness regarding various topics relevant to the case, including but not limited to customer disputes, and did not allow for the admission of emails the petitioner argues are germane to this case. Additionally, DNS claims the ALJ improperly excluded exhibits, namely exhibits P124 and P125, proffered by the petitioner. The DNS witness in this matter is visually impaired. The Zoom platform, petitioner contends, inhibited his ability to view the documents. The documents were struck during the course of the proceedings and various testimony excluded, which the petitioners opposed. Counsel for DNS did not notify ALJ Calguire nor the OAL of the need of an accommodation for the DNS witness due to a disability until after the witness had already completed multiple days of testimony. VNJ has not filed an opposite objection nor a response to the petitioner's motion. The legal standard for accepting a matter for interlocutory review is stated in Re Uniform Administrative Procedure Rules 90 NJ 85, 1982. In that case, the New Jersey Supreme Court concluded that an agency has the right to review ALJ orders on interlocutory basis to determine whether they are reasonably likely to interfere with the decisional process or have a substantial effect upon the ultimate outcome of the proceeding. The court held that the agency head has broad discretion to determine which ALJ orders are subject to review on interlocutory basis. However, it noted that the power of the agency head to review ALJ orders on an interlocutory basis is not in itself totally unlimited, and that interlocutory review of ALJ orders should be exercised sparingly. Interlocutory review may be granted only in the interest of justice or for good cause shown. Title II of the ADA states that no qualified individual with a disability shall, by reason of such disability, be excluded from participation in or be denied benefits of the services, programs, or activities of a public entity, or be subjected to discrimination by any such entity. And that's under 42 USC section 12132. The Office of Administrative Law and the Board of Public Utilities are public entities as defined by the ADA. Furthermore, pursuant to NJAC 13:13-4.11, individuals with disabilities are entitled to reasonable accommodation in places of public accommodation. The recommendation is as follows. With respect to the contention that exhibits P124 and P125 were improperly excluded and testimony was improperly struck as a result of the witness for DNS needing an accommodation due to a visual impairment, the petitioner should be ordered to inform the OAL what accommodation the DNS witness needs for his visual impairment with respect to reviewing exhibits P124 and P125 within 10 days. Then the DNS will be permitted to recall that witness to testify on the limited topics of exhibit 124 and 125 with that reasonable accommodation, and Verizon New Jersey will be permitted to cross-examine the DNS witness within 30 days. With respect to the remainder of the motion for interlocutory relief, we recommend that it is not appropriate to grant interlocutory review at this stage of the proceedings, and it would be appropriate for ALJ Caliguire to develop the record and render an initial decision dispositive of the issues before the OAL. Thank you.
Okay,
I move denial of the motion.
do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions for Melinda? Thoroughly explained, Melinda. Thank you. Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve Division of Law's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Melinda, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
There are no items under water or reliability and security. We do have an item under customer assistance, and I think, Rich, you're going to be presenting?
Yes, good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right, all right. On October 30th, 2020, Atlantic City Electric filed a petition requesting board authorization pursuant to NJAC 14:3-5.1C to relocate its Atlantic City Customer Service Center from 2430 Atlantic Avenue, Atlantic City, New Jersey, to 5100 Wellington Avenue, Ventnor, New Jersey, which is 3.5 miles from the current location. The company complied with NJAC 14:3-5.1C and E, including mailing copies of the petition to the clerk of the affected municipality, as well as the Divisional Rate Council. ACE also stated it will publish a copy of the relocation notice in the press of Atlantic City. ACE advised the relocation is beneficial and will provide customers with an improved customer experience through a newly renovated and upgraded space that is designed to better accommodate the needs of its customers. The new location is on a major thoroughfare, and 2 New Jersey Transit bus lines serve the shopping mall in which it is situated. For those customers who choose to drive, there is free and plentiful parking. In addition, the new location will provide over double the space currently offered to host community outreach events. The larger space will allow for greater social distancing, which protects the health and safety of ACE's customers and employees. The company requests that the board authorize the closure and relocation of its CSC. Rate Council advised board staff by letter dated December 1, 2020 that has no objections. Rate Council requested that any board order granting the petition contain the following provisions. 1, ACE shall develop a contingency plan in the event that both its current and its proposed new Ventnor location become unavailable before completion of the equipping and relocation process. 2, ACE shall maintain at a minimum the same levels of operation and hours, staffing levels, and levels of service at the Ventnor location after the relocation. 3, ACE shall maintain at a minimum the level of accessibility for persons with disabilities at its relocated Ventnor location as required by the Americans with Disabilities Act and New Jersey law against discrimination. 4, ACE shall publish and post a public notice of the proposed relocation of its Atlantic City location in both English and Spanish. 5, ACE shall notify the board and Rate Council if it anticipates any changes in the hours of operation, staffing levels, or levels of service currently provided at the CSC after the relocation. 6, ACE shall notify the board and Rate Council if it learns of any reduction in public transportation available to access the new location from the city of Atlantic City. 7, the rate impact and prudency of ACE's costs incurred to renovate, equip, and relocate the Atlantic City CSC to Ventnor will be reviewed in the company's next base rate case or other appropriate proceedings. 8, this order shall not affect nor in any way limit the exercise of the authority of the board or the state in any future petition or any proceeding with respect to rates, franchises, service, financing, accounting, capitalization, depreciation, or any other matter affecting the petitioner. After review of the entire record in this matter, including the comments filed on behalf of the Rate Council, board staff hereby finds: 1, on October 30th, 2020, ACE filed a petition pursuant to NJAC 14:3-5.1 to relocate its Atlantic City CSC. 2, ACE has complied with NJAC 14:3-5.1, including the relevant notice requirements. 3, Rate Council agreed to the move with certain conditions as noted above. The board staff finds the requested notice of change in hours, staffing, and/or service levels proposed by Rate Council to be overly burdensome and substitutes the following language. ACE's Ventnor Customer Service Office shall maintain the same hours of operation, staffing levels, and levels of service that were provided at the Atlantic City location. 4, no objection to this relocation has been received by the board. 5, the relocation of the Atlantic City office from 2430 Atlantic Avenue in the city of Atlantic City, County of Atlantic, to Unit 5014 of the Ventnor Plaza Shopping Center, 5100 Wellington Avenue in the city of Ventnor, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey is not unreasonable. Therefore, board staff recommends that the board grant ACE's request and authorize the relocation of its CSE subject to the following conditions. 1, ACE shall develop a contingency plan in the event that both its current and proposed new Ventnor location become unavailable before completion and equipping of the relocation process. 2, ACE shall maintain the same hours of operation, staffing levels, and levels of service at the new Ventnor location after its relocation as it provided at the Atlantic City location. 3, ACE shall maintain at a minimum the level of accessibility for persons with disability at the relocated Ventnor location as required by the American with Disabilities Act and New Jersey's law against discrimination. 4, the rate, impact, and prudency of ACE's costs incurred to renovate, equip, and relocate the Atlantic City location will be reviewed in the company's next base rate case or other appropriate proceedings. 5, this order shall not affect nor in any way limit the exercise of authority or the board or this state in any future petition or any proceedings with respect to rates, franchises, service, financing, accounting, capitalization, depreciation, or any other matter affecting the petitioner.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments for Rich?
Yeah, Mr. President. I
Yeah,
just,
you can.
the item number 1 that ACE shall develop a contingency plan in the event, that particular sentence, I think is a little confusing because how can it become unavailable before it's completed? That's one thing. And I think probably you could make it a little bit clear, saying that you will not close one office before the other office is fully available. And so during the transition, what happens? I think so. I was just reading that sentence. I was getting confused. So maybe it's me.
I mean, ACE did within the petition say that they will keep the existing office until the new office is wholly ready.
Okay,
They did speak to that.
That's good. Yeah, the contingency plan is for when both of them are not available, or one is not available.
The contingency is if the new one isn't available at the time that they think it will be, they will not be closing the old one until the time becomes available.
Yeah, because it says and, both its current and its proposed are unavailable. So you may want to maybe make it or something. Yeah. So just to clarify.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Any other questions? Comments? Roll call, Ada?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Rich, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Enjoy the rest of
Commissioner.
your day. All right, that brings us to clean energy item 8A. And Kathleen, I think you're center stage.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. Good morning.
Good morning.
Before you today is the settlement agreement regarding the petition of Public Service Electric and Gas Company for the approval of its Clean Energy Future Electric Vehicles and Energy Storage Program, which was originally filed in October 2018. Commissioner Shivakula presided over the matter. On September 23rd, 2020, the board established minimum filing requirements for light-duty, publicly accessible electric vehicle charging infrastructure. While those requirements were not applicable to this existing filing, they informed staff's positions and policy priorities. Following extensive discovery and settlement discussions, several parties executed a stipulation in this matter. As part of the settlement, PSE&G will implement an electric vehicle program with approximately $166.2 million in program spending and $39 million in operation and maintenance expenses. In alignment with the minimum filing requirements set forth in the September 23rd board order, all incentives are on make-ready investments, those infrastructure that is necessary to make the site ready for a charger. There are no incentives for charger hardware itself. The program includes up to 1,500 public fast chargers, up to 4,375 L2 chargers at workplaces, community locations, and multi-unit dwellings, and up to 44,000 residential chargers. The settlement requires that all charger sites funded by the program be networked and provide customers with no less than 2 pre-qualified hardware and software vendors. All data collected will be in a manner to protect customers' privacy and will be provided to the board and other third parties in a manner to be detailed in a forthcoming rule proposal for light-duty charging infrastructure as required by the September 23rd board order. This data will be used to inform the future cost of service study, distribution grid impact study, and to better understand charging behavior for future EV ecosystem build-outs. PSE&G will provide 2 semi-annual reports each year to the BPU detailing quality and quantity of the work and forecasted and actual capital costs of the installed infrastructure. PSE&G will also post public maps detailing areas that are best suited for EV infrastructure build-out by the end of calendar year 2021 and earlier if possible. These maps will be prepared and updated by the company on a regular basis. The company will perform a grid impact study as part of the integrated distribution plan required by New Jersey's 2019 Energy Master Plan. As part of the stipulation and in recognition of ongoing considerations by the board, the matter will remain open to address the Vehicle Innovation and Energy Storage Program portions of this filing. Those portions of the filing would have included incentives on medium and heavy duty vehicles and charging infrastructure. However, as part of the September 23rd board order creating the minimum filing requirements, the board called for a public stakeholder process on medium and heavy duty vehicle charging infrastructure. Staff envisions that process starting in FY 2021. Also, in alignment with the minimum filing requirements, the current program includes no utility ownership or operation of charging stations. Any ownership proposals would be part of a future filing in accordance with the last resort criteria and process outlined in the September 23rd board order. I will now turn it over to the Director of Energy, Stacey Peterson, to discuss the rate issues addressed in this settlement.
Morning again, Commissioners.
Good.
All capital investments made pursuant to the agreed upon EV program and consistent with the budget amounts in the stipulation will be included in rate base as those investments are completed and become charger ready and shall be reviewed for recovery and rates in a future base rate case proceeding. PSE&G will establish a regulatory asset to capture its non-capital costs associated with the program offerings, including make-ready incentives, administrative costs, data collection and networking costs, customer outreach and marketing, and education costs, as well as incremental O&M costs. There are several rate design modifications included in the proposal, including participation in the company's existing residential time of use rates. For DCFC participants, there's $5 million in the approved budget, in the stipulated budget, to provide a demand charge rebate for a portion of the demand charge until a new cost-based rate can be established in a future rate case or upon exhaustion of the $5 million. As a result of the stipulation, there's no immediate impact on customers' bills. Any changes in rates related to the cost of these programs will be addressed in a future PSE&G base rate case proceeding, subject to a prudency review. Kathleen, were you making the recommendation to the board, or do you need me to do it?
Nope, I can. Thank you, Stacy. And with that, the board, the staff recommends that the board accept this stipulation.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments for Kathleen or Stacy?
I just want
President?
to add one more I just want to add one more recommendation, and that is for PSE&G to, the board to direct PSE&G to file revised tariffs by February 1st.
Okay, person who moved it, will you accept that?
Yes.
And Diane, you seconded it. Will you accept that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Bob, you had a comment.
Yes, I seem to recall that in the last day or so, there was some press reporting on the environmental community's concern that the public service proposal was reduced substantially during the negotiation process. And I thought I read that an energy storage component was eliminated completely. I hope I'm not mixing issues. If I am correct, Kathleen or Stacy, do you have any comments on that?
So the stipulated amount of the program is really to address light duty vehicles at this time. As Kathleen noted, the board staff is going to be moving through a medium and heavy duty stakeholder process, as well as a stakeholder process on energy storage as contemplated by the Clean Energy Act. So neither of them were removed from the program. We're holding them in abeyance. So the matter will stay open. We're holding them in abeyance. Similar to other matters, we do not want to get ahead of the board making policy calls on these items.
Right.
And
Bob,
I would
I'm
also,
sorry.
oh, sorry, Mr. President.
No, you go on.
I would also note to reiterate a little bit of what Stacy said, that there will be a public stakeholder process on the medium and heavy duty. In comments on the light duty process, there was a request by some of those same parties to have a public process on the medium and heavy duty, and how energy storage plays into that. So the board asked staff to start that process, and we plan to do that in this fiscal year.
Good. Bob, I'm so happy you brought that up, because I found it very disconcerting that the article you're referring to regarding the EV and the infrastructure and so on, the media article, and I'm not going to mention the publication, was disconcerting. First of all, excuse me, staff has been working incredibly hard on EVs and the infrastructure portion of this project. And to see published details about the settlement in advance of you, Bob, and you, Mariana, and Diane, and you, Pendra, and me, how did they know we were going to vote on it in a positive way? Could have been a negative vote. And to see the details published in advance of us taking action, I find disconcerting. And this particular publication calls us a lot for information. And it's been kind of our rule that until the board acts on something, it's not publicized. And the details of that are not publicized. So who gave them that information? I have no idea. Number one. Number two, I find it disrespectful to this board, and I find it disrespectful to the staff, who as I said, has worked incredibly hard on the EVs to try to meet the goals that have been laid out before us. So that's my portion of it.
Well, when did this article come out? If I can ask Joe, maybe I missed it. It's not the
Yeah,
board.
it was today, wasn't it? Or
last night.
I thought it was today, but I can't
Ah.
find it in my clips.
Yeah.
It was
what-
yesterday.
Yesterday?
Oh, it was yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah, because, just, when evidently I missed the publication of that yesterday. And I know that, there have been items where, not suggesting, on the day that we vote or something, releases from, utilities on settlements that are becoming, but the level of detail that I see from the article today, is disconcerting.
yes. Yep. Did you have any more you wanted to say, Bob? I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, I just thought it was important to get on the record that, this doesn't reflect a change in policy or a view that the board doesn't think that vehicle electrification is important. It's just a matter of kind of reorganizing our approach and segregating, a major program to be so that we can treat it separately. And I just wanted to get that on the record.
Good. Upendra, did you want to say? I'm sorry, Diane. Go on.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. One other comment, and to suggest that this board is the only one that's working on the issue is not true either. There's other monies and other pockets. It's not just the ratepayers that are involved.
No.
That we are involved with, that are involved in this issue. We have a very discrete responsibility when it comes to this particular issue, and we have to make sure to stay within our lane too, in what we are permitting in terms of these funds. So I too wanted to thank staff who worked, I know, very hard and taking into consideration, many stakeholders' input and discussions with the board on this matter to craft and to move this forward. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I think it's disconcerting that confidential agreements, information is being revealed to the media, I think, without before the board has a chance to vote on it. It is disconcerting. But I know there is more and more outcry about the board to take more public process and step by step, making sure that we spend the public dollars carefully. I think our staff has taken the right approach in terms of looking at the light duty vehicles separately from the medium and heavy duty, and the issues are different. And also storage is a very complicated issue in terms of the current pricing and how that is going to impact. I think separating those issues and having a stakeholder process is actually in the interest of the public. And I think I commend the staff for doing an outstanding job. And I have a couple of questions. One is for Stacy. Stacy, how do we account for some of the congestion? Because when you look at the demand pricing, there are areas that are more congested than others. And will they have a correlation between that aspect?
On the demand charge piece, or where they're actually locating the charger?
Yeah, demand charge piece. Yeah, demand.
So the demand charge piece is part of the stipulation would be open to any DCFC charging company that either currently has infrastructure or will be building out the infrastructure.
Okay, thank you. And I got a question for Kathleen. Kathleen, when you talk about incentives for the school buses, currently most of the school buses are diesel, I think. Yeah. So are these incentives are going to be helping them to buy new buses or retrofit the buses, or some kind of discussion along those lines?
So the school bus portion was part of the vehicle innovation proposal, which is currently being held in abeyance. And I would venture to guess that there is going to be a very robust conversation around that particular issue and how to deal with it.
Okay, thank you.
And I think it shows that here at the BPU, we don't work in silos. You see two divisions working together to try to come out with a product. And indeed they did. And that goes on every single day of the week in the BPU. And it's certainly staff has to be commended for that kind of interaction and that working together, so on. If there are no other comments, roll call. Ada.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes, and I think we can safely say that today's actions are another step really toward reaching New Jersey's electric vehicle adoption goals. In less than a year, the BPU has moved aggressively to put Governor Murphy's goals into action. The Energy Master Plan made it clear that electrifying transportation is critical to achieving our emission reduction goals. And the BPU is helping to make that happen. And it's because of the cooperation of all of our divisions within the BPU. Today, we approve this PSE&G settlement. And as we work to ensure a fair, equitable charging ecosystem, the state has successfully incentivized over 7,500 new EVs in 2020 by creating a brand new program in the midst of a pandemic. In addition, staff is diligently working to address the two other aspects of the minimum filing requirements passed in September 2020. The establishment of rules for the light duty filing requirements and a public stakeholder process on how to address medium and heavy duty charging. We have been working collaboratively with our sister agencies, Department of Environmental Protection and the Economic Development Authority, to ensure that the measures we take on EV adoption enhance each other. Despite so many obstacles put in our way in 2020, you might have noticed there were a couple. New Jersey has seen a lot of success in our first year of EV programs. And I think we all look forward to similar successes in 2021. Good job, guys. Okay, 8B. Is
All
that
right,
you too, Kathleen?
that's me too.
You too, okay.
8B, on November 23rd, 2020, Rockland Electric Company filed a petition with the board seeking approval to invest approximately $6.7 million over a 5-year period for a light-duty electric vehicle program. Staff recommends that the board retain this matter for a hearing at the board and designate a presiding officer. Staff further recommends that the board set a bar date of March 1st, 2021 for the filing of motions to intervene and participate and for admission pro hoc vice.
And Commissioner Gordon has agreed to be that presiding officer. Thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome. Pleased to do it. Thank you.
Good. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Kathleen? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. And 8C, Kathleen?
Yes. While processing applications for the Charge Up New Jersey incentive, staff was made aware that some otherwise eligible applicants have been unable to comply with the terms and conditions due to delays in processing driver license renewals through the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission. These delays have impacted residents whose licenses have expired but have been unable to renew due to agency closures. Staff recommends that a very limited exemption to the Charge Up New Jersey program terms and conditions for those who are impacted by MVC delays. All other eligibility requirements are still applicable. Staff recommends that in order to prove eligibility, individuals whose licenses have expired and have been unable to be renewed due to COVID-19 related delays can produce alternative documentation, which must include a New Jersey license that has expired between March and December of 2020, proof that the applicant cannot renew online, or proof that the applicant has scheduled an appointment to renew in person, a signed affidavit that states that they are residents of New Jersey and prevented from renewing by administrative delays, and a copy of the deed, lease, or utility bill showing proof of residency in the state of New Jersey. Staff has also been made aware of some applicants who have recently moved to New Jersey who have been unable to obtain New Jersey driver licenses due to agency closures. Staff recommends a narrow waiver for these applicants that provides times for them to get a license for those specifically impacted by this issue due to a move to the state during 2020. For these applicants, the time that an application can remain open will be extended from 14 days to 180 days. And within those 180 days, the applicants must obtain a license, and they must produce documentation of a lease or purchase of property within New Jersey in 2020. Lastly, due to COVID-related delays, the board extends the time in which the BPU is required to pay out an incentive from 120 to 180 days. Staff recommends that the board move these very narrow waivers for the Charge Up New Jersey program.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Kathleen? Obviously a necessary procedure here with the delays and so on due to the pandemic, and so on. A good job on that, Kathleen. If there are no questions or comments, roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Kathleen, thank you. 8D, Jim, I think you're up on that.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This matter is regarding an amended petition filed by DCO Energy, asking the board to find that its Midtown Control Center, or MTCC, a 6 megawatt combined heat and power facility located in Atlantic City and currently providing thermal energy to several Atlantic City facilities, is an on-site generator as defined in the Electric Discount and Energy Competition Act, EDICA, for providing electric service to the Atlantic City Regional Medical Center and a to-be-constructed medical arts building collectively referred to as Atlanticare. To be an on-site generator, a facility must meet certain requirements, but at issue in the amended petition are 2 elements. The property receiving electricity must be contiguous to the generator, and the generator must only serve one end-use customer. To be considered contiguous under EDICA, the properties must either touch or be separated by no more than 1 right-of-way. The medical center is located diagonally across a single intersection from the MTCC, and the medical arts building will be located across 1 street from the MTCC and the medical center. The petitioner asserts that the property lines extend to the center of the intersection and therefore touch at their corner. Staff's position is that properties that touch at a corner are contiguous with respect to EDICA. However, even if the properties do not touch at the corner, staff believes that the diagonal crossing of an intersection of 2 streets represents only 1 right-of-way crossing, since each street utilizes the intersection at separate and distinct times, and as such, the intersection acts as a single street at any given moment. Regarding the issue of whether the medical center and the medical arts building can be considered 1 customer, staff believes that these facilities will be part of a single campus, will function as a single integrated healthcare delivery system, and will be owned by a single entity. As such, even if separated by a roadway, they are a single customer. Staff recommends that the board grant the amended petition, declaring that the MTCC is an on-site generator for the purpose of supplying electric service to Atlantic Care, subject to the findings, terms, and conditions in the board order.
So moved.
Second.
Are there questions or comments for Jim?
I just want to thank Jim for an outstanding job looking at the IDECA regarding contiguous properties and how this particular ruling. It's very important for us as we look into the future for resilience and microgrids. I think this type of issues, because the CHPs provide 30% electricity efficiency, but also 30% in thermal load. And currently the thermal load doesn't have one right-of-way restriction because of the change of law a few years ago. I think this is a good job for Jim. So with the wind in his lap.
Thank you, Commissioner. I do have to say, though, that most of the heavy lifting on this was done by Andrea Hart.
Oh, Andrea did a great job.
Good. Any other comments or questions for Jim? Roll call, Ada, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Mr. President.
8E, I think Stacy Richardson, you're front and center. Good morning, Stacy.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Commissioners. The matter before you is a Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, among the Board, Northeast Energy Efficiency Partnerships, or NEEP, and the Rutgers Center for Green Building, or Rutgers. In its June 10th, 2020 Energy Efficiency Transition Framework Order, the Board authorized staff to establish a stakeholder group dubbed an Energy Codes and Standards Subcommittee within the Evaluation, Measurement, and Verification Working Group, whose purpose would be to identify opportunities to achieve greater energy efficiency via building energy code strategies and to quantify the energy savings that could result from updates to energy codes. NEEP proposes to engage stakeholders through a timely and robust, stakeholder-guided 6-month process called the New Jersey Zero Energy Buildings Collaborative that will support the development of the Zero Energy Buildings Roadmap that identifies and assesses options to advance zero energy code development and improve code administration, enforcement, and compliance. Staff believes that NEEP's proposal is consistent with the board's vision and will satisfy the board's directive to establish a codes and standards stakeholder group. The achievement of greater energy efficiency and therefore energy savings through effective energy code strategies is also in alignment with clean energy law and policies of the state of New Jersey, including the Clean Energy Act and the New Jersey Energy Master Plan. The work of the ZEB Collaborative, including the ZEB Roadmap, will be the beginning of an ongoing dialogue and process about how to build government and market capacities to effectively adopt and implement an increasingly more energy efficient building energy code with a high level of compliance. Staff has worked with NEEP and Rutgers to draft an MOU to lay out the terms and conditions, including roles and responsibilities of our 3 entities for commencement of the ZEB Collaborative. Staff recommends that the board approve the terms and conditions of the MOU and authorize its execution by President Fiordaliso.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Stacy?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I do have a comment. As we all know, policymaking is often comes down to a balancing of policy goals. And I think this is an example of one of those situations. On the one hand, we want to achieve improvements in energy efficiency to support our clean energy goals. On the other hand, we have an affordable housing crisis in New Jersey and need to make sure that our any new housing construction is affordable. So all I would say is I would hope that in this process that staff makes a concerted effort to get the input of the housing construction sector, those in the real estate sector who are involved in providing housing, just to make sure that we're able to appropriately balance our goals.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I just
Yes.
wanted to say that in terms of the script, it's to come up with recommendations and ideas, not so much setting policy at this point. Is that my understanding, Stacy?
Yeah, that's correct. It's options to of ways to move forward, but not that nothing is going to change, with the completion of the roadmap. It'll be laying it out for, the board's consideration and DCA and other key stakeholders and policy.
Also, it brings the perspective of a nonprofit organization that is involved in energy efficiency using a 6-month grant. Is that correct, Stacy? Yeah.
That's correct.
Anything else? Roll call, please, Ada.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
Big Ben, I think you're up next.
I sure am. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm trying to find you. Where are you?
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are.
I'm in Plainsboro, New Jersey currently, actually. All right. Yes, so item 8F. This matter concerns Rockland Electric Company, the company, or RECO's request to extend the terms of its low-income audit and direct install energy efficiency program. The program is set to terminate on January 31st, 2021, and the company proposes to extend the program term through June 30th, 2021, to align with New Jersey's larger energy efficiency transition. The proposed extension would come at no additional cost, nor with any additional ratepayer impact. RECO proposes to use the remaining program budget to serve customers through June 30th and has agreed to refund to ratepayers any unspent funds collected from customers for the low-income program. The extension will ensure that low-income customers in RECO's service territory will have an opportunity to participate in an energy efficiency program with uninterrupted service while staff, the utilities, and other stakeholders work to finalize the energy efficiency transition slated to culminate in July 2021. In light of the terms of the executed stipulation between board staff, the New Jersey Division of Rate Counsel, and Rockland Electric Company, staff recommends approving RECO's request to extend the terms of its low-income audit and direct install energy efficiency program.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments for Ben? Roll call, please, Ada.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
That brings us to miscellaneous items, and we do have one under 9A. Bob, regarding a rulemaking petition.
Bob, you're muted.
We can't hear you, Bob.
Here we go.
No. Why don't you sign off and come back on? We'll wait for you. We're not going anywhere.
Emily, where are you? In Australia or someplace?
I think I'm in Trent. Well, I'm in Plainsboro, but my background is supposed to be Trenton. I'm pretending that I'm in an actual in-person agenda meeting.
There you go, Emily. Good for you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm really in my living room, looking at my cat, but I can pretend.
Hey, you have a black cat, right? Yeah, black cat.
How you doing? How you doing, Bob?
Okay, how's the video now?
The video was fine. It was your audio.
The sound.
Audio. And I guess the audio is good since you heard me say video.
Yes.
Okay, thank you again, and good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Apologies for the glitch there. So this is a petition of a Mr. Larry Leugman. It was filed August 13th, shortly after Zayas. And the petition sought a rulemaking in a variety of areas, including requiring electric utilities to provide automated outage reports to and from customers in real time, requiring utilities to provide real-time street-by-street outage and restoration estimates and completions, more specific water and ice distribution than is currently done, and a proposal to limit utility executive compensation to $175,000 or the governor's salary. And at the time, board staff responded that we were reviewing, and we always review, the storm responses by all of the utilities. We have active AMI proceedings underway at the board, including for JCPL, which is the service territory of the petitioner, and that the issue of executive compensation for utility executives is a matter that's typically dealt with in rate cases. So in response to the initial filing, staff referred the petitioner to these various proceedings and suggested that he participate in the open dockets. The petitioner declined to avail himself of the ongoing proceedings and continued to pursue a rulemaking. Therefore, his petition was published in the New Jersey Register in December, and staff is making this recommendation today to deny the petitioner's request for a rulemaking. And I'll go through just some of the specifics that are the basis for staff's recommendation. As I said before, the outage reporting and responses are the subject of an open docket. In this case, docket EO 200-80545, which is JCPL's AMI proceeding. The issue of water and ice being offered to customers was actually addressed by the board in the Hurricane Irene response proceedings. Specifically, it was recommendation 47 in docket number EO 110-90543. And lastly, as I mentioned before, the board already addresses utility compensation in every rate case. And I would note that the board does not have the authority to specifically regulate individual utility compensation or benefits at a utility company. And therefore, staff recommends that this is not a matter that's properly the subject of a rulemaking. So for those reasons, it's staff's recommendation that the petition be denied. And if the board approves the recommendation, the denial will be published in the New Jersey Register and the matter will be closed.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Second. Any questions or comments for Bob? Roll call later, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiorelliso.
Yes, thank you, Bob.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And Emily, it sounds or looks like, not sounds like, it looks like that you're going to wrap us up here on late starter A.
I think that's correct. Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, commissioners. So this item concerns JCPL's 2020 transmission formula rate. The board is a party to this case, having intervened on November 7th, 2019. JCPL filed its proposed transmission formula rate template and protocols for 2020 at the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, on October 30th, 2019. The board, together with the New Jersey Division of Rate Counsel, protested that filing on November 20th, 2019. On December 19th, 2019, FERC accepted JCPL's October 30th, 2019 filing, subject to refund, suspended the filing for a nominal period to be effective on January 1st, 2020, and set the proceeding for hearing and settlement judge procedures. The parties reached a settlement in principle on November 17th, 2020, and drafted a settlement agreement thereafter. Once filed at and accepted by FERC, the protocol and template in the settlement agreement will replace those in the October 30th, 2019 filing with an effective date of January 1st, 2020. JCPL, on behalf of the parties, plans to also file a motion to implement interim settlement rates and request for waivers and expedited consideration, or also called an interim rates motion, along with the settlement to ensure that ratepayers benefit from the reduced rates in the settlement as expeditiously as possible. So at this time, staff requests that the board ratify both the settlement agreement and the interim rates motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments for Emily? Ada, roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon,
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
President Fiordaliso.
Yes. Emily, thank you very much. That ends our agenda. I wish you all to stay safe and take care of yourself and take care of one another. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
You.